January the 28th. I can't believe January is almost over. And I finally got a new car mount for my car. And I have a little bit of a country drive. So I thought I would just come on here and talk to my friends out there, my Weight Watcher friends, because it's been so long since I've posted just sort of a rambly chit chat. I have a couple things that I'm editing and working on for my channel, but I think I told you all I have a full caseload now, and it's crazy. I have a 4:30 tonight, pretty far out of town, like 35 minutes out of town, so I won't be home until maybe 6. And then there's the charting, the ever-present charting. The good news about the charting right now is that we are getting our computer system like updated. So we haven't had one. So we've had a lot of paper charting lately, and we're moving to a new computer system, and so hopefully that will help. But I don't know, this year has been 2020 already has been busy. We had a really good time on the cruise, so I was going to tell you guys a little bit about the cruise. I have some footage. I don't even know. I did like a whole day. I did some footage of our excursions. We were on the Carnival Dream out of Galveston for a 5-day cruise, and it was great. I was very, very anxious about like certain aspects of the cruise. One of them was that I just, it's hard to stay on program, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go in terms of staying on program. And I switched over to Blue, and I sort of did it the way that Judah used to do Blue, which was he would eat 0-point foods like during the day and save his points up for his evening meal, and for, save his weeklies and his activities and stuff, so that he could eat sort of like college guy food. And that, you guys are going to be like, Amy, what are you talking about? Well, so we went to the steakhouse one night, and I had a really beautiful filet, and of course they put a little bit of garlic butter on top, stuff like that. So I just ate like 0-point stuff all day long so I can indulge. I didn't get a potato. I got shrimp cocktail for my appetizer, and I had a salad. But once you have a roll and you have a filet with butter on it, and you have a couple bites of the cheesecake, and you have a glass of wine, your points are donezo. One night we had sushi, so I saved my points for sushi. One night I had a hamburger, I saved my points for a hamburger. One day I went and we went to the C-Day brunch, and I got eggs, which are 0 on Blue. I got 2 pieces of bacon and counted points for that. Well, then I got a yogurt parfait, thinking it would be yogurty and I could count points for like yogurt. This yogurt parfait, good Lord, it was so delicious and so not point friendly. Like, it kind of ate up all my points, that breakfast did. So the rest of the day I had to be kind of careful, and then for dinner I went into my weeklies. All in all, it worked out, but it was, I took the stairs every time. We rarely ever took the elevator. Unless we were going from like, floor 3 to floor 12. And then there were some times we took half the stairs, and then we took the elevator the rest of the way up. But I consistently stayed around, 10,000 to 15,000 steps every day. And we just had a great time. The other thing that I was anxious about, sorry, I'm going to drink a little bit of coffee because I have a little tickle in my throat. I have one of my delicious 2-point coffees. So just a note on the coffee. I did have a question about that. I use the sugar-free Italian sweet cream, and I do, I believe it's 3 tablespoons of that for 1 point, and then I do a half a cup of the Califia Farms, the green label. It's the unsweetened almond milk. It's 35 calories. I do half a cup of that, and I count 0 for that. If I do a whole cup, like in a cold brew, I count 1 point. So there's lots of different Califia Farms almond milks, and you really have to look at, you need to scan them and look at the label before you pick one up. They're not all 1 point per cup. So I had a question about that. Anyway, back to cruise. The other thing I was worried about was we did excursions that were not with the cruise ship. So the first excursion we did was to a beach resort called Paradise Beach, and it was an all-inclusive, and this is what I spent the rest of my points on, because I like tropical drinks. I love margaritas, I love pina coladas, and I love blue Hawaiians, and it was all-inclusive. So I spent my points that day. I got ceviche, which I counted for 0 because that's just shrimp. I had some chips and some salsa and a little bit of guacamole, and then I had some drinks. And when we got back that night, I think that's the night that we went, and I just did a big salad. So, definitely difficult to do cruise eating, but I was able to do it and enjoy. When I got back, I got on the scale the morning after we got back. We got back on Saturday. Sunday morning I got on the scale just to kind of see, and the scale said I was up 5 pounds, which I know a lot of it was water weight, because cruise food is super duper salty. Just so you know, if you've never been on a cruise, they use a lot of salt in the food, and even though I stayed within my points, it was still more than what I'm used to eating, because I stay within my daily points, and I don't usually touch my weeklies and my activity points unless absolutely necessary. So I was definitely intaking more. There was a lot of salt, and so that was on Sunday, and then by Monday I had already dropped 3 pounds of that. So I may still be up at weigh-in this week, and that's totally fine. I'm back on plan, drinking a lot of water, a lot of water, and I have been hanging out in the bathroom, so I know a lot of it. Like, my ankles were just so swollen, my rings were swollen, and they're already starting to move a little bit better. So the last time I went on the cruise, for whatever reason, I came back and I stayed the same. Like, I think it was the day after. So I also was on Smart Points for that cruise, and I stayed within my daily point range. So it just makes me wonder if maybe doing blue was not the best choice. Whatever, it doesn't matter now. I had a great time. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the food. I have been so great through the holidays. I stayed on plan for Thanksgiving. I stayed on plan for Christmas. That, I enjoyed my vacation. So anyway, we did Paradise Beach. That was amazing. I put pictures up over on Instagram, and it's for Nurse 17. If you go on Instagram, I put some pictures up. The water was amazing. It was like 80 something degrees. It was warm. I went down this really long dock and jumped into the ocean. Oh my goodness. It was glorious. Just absolutely glorious. And I'm such a beach water person. So we did that. That excursion went well. We just took a taxi from the port. We spent the day at Paradise Beach, and then we took a taxi back. It went off without a hitch. Now, the next excursion that we went on in the Yucatan Peninsula, we left from Progreso, and we went through Merida, I think is how they say it. I want to say Merida. You guys are going to correct me. But anyway, we went to Chichen Itza, which is a Mayan ruin, one of the 7 wonders of the world. Well, we took an off-cruise excursion, and we had to take a bus from the port to Progreso, the little town of Progreso, and then find another like van. We only went with 10 people. Find another van, go with them 2 hours to Chichen Itza, and then it was like 2 hours at the actual ruins, and then 2 hours back. Well, we got to Progreso. We wandered all around trying to find these people in these bright green shirts, and the instructions were clear as mud. And my husband's usually directionally very sound, and I usually don't have problems with that sort of thing. And we've traveled, we've traveled in Europe, and we've done a lot of traveling, and we've lived all over the place, so we usually can find where we're going. I know you guys don't believe me because I get lost here in town, but that's a whole other situation. So we couldn't find them. Finally, they were on some weird back street. And we were like, okay, so that was fine. We weren't late or anything. We got on we got in the van and did the 2-hour drive. And I kept thinking, like, man, we're not going to have very long at the ruins. We're going to have to book it back, because if you guys know anything about cruise ships, if you're late, they will leave you. They will leave you. They will leave you. Well, sure enough, we like ran through the ruins, you guys. And the tour guides were very nice, but they were extremely long-winded. And we were like, hey, can we actually like walk around and see this and not just stand in one place for 20 minutes while you kind of ramble on and on and on? And so we ended up splitting up, because people were like, hey, can we like go actually see the ruins? We ended up splitting up, and they were like, meet back at this place at 2:45. We have to go immediately. Or 2:35. Meet back at this straw hut at 2:35 because we have to go immediately. Well, my husband and I, we got turned around in the ruins. They're huge ruins. Chichen Itza is huge. We got turned around. But we made it back exactly at 2:35. Nobody else was there. And the boat is leaving at 5:30. And we have a 2-hour drive. And it's 2:35. Right? So, and we have to get back. Then we have to get back on the bus to the port. We have to get back to town. Then get on the bus to port. And I was like, oh my gosh. And if you go on an excursion with the cruise line, they guarantee they will not leave you. Well, this was not with the cruise line. So I'm thinking, if everybody doesn't show up, we are screwed, right? So there were some other factors that I'm not going to go into. But suffice it to say, everyone was back at 3 o'clock, and we still had a 2-hour drive back to town, and then we had to get on and I was like, we are in trouble. So anyway, it was a very stressful drive back in the van, and I asked the tour guide, I said, hey, listen, is there any way you can take us right up to, port, like right up to the cruise ship? I said, we're going to miss our boat. And it was unorganized is basically what the deal was. And they were very, very nice. They were great, tour guides, but it was just very unorganized, you guys. And so they were like, well, what we'll do is we'll switch buses to this bus that we can take you up, that has like clearance that lets us take you up all the way to the port. And we were like, okay. Oh my goodness. Anyway, we managed all of that. We got to the port right at 5 o'clock and had to like run through all the shops and everything, and we got on the ship in time. And there were tons of people that were getting on after us, and the ship was even late leaving. So it ended up not being that big of a deal. But for me, I do everything in my life by GPS. Like right now I have a 4:30 appointment with a client. I will be there at 4:27. I will get out of my car and I will knock on the door at 4:30. That's just how I do things, you know? So for me as a nurse, it was a lot. Well, it was really funny because on the ship with us, or not on the ship, but on the excursion with us, was this woman. I met this woman who is the founder of this huge charity for inflammatory breast cancer survivors. And she's out of Houston. Anyway, we hit it off. She was just dying, laughing at me because I had my GPS pulled up and I was like, we are going to get to the port at such and such a time. And she's like, Amy, you are so funny. She's like, I've just never seen anybody like, so like, we've got to do this. Do. And I said, well, I think it's just training. I think my brain has been completely screwed up by healthcare, working in healthcare. Because in healthcare, you know, if you have to give a medicine on time, you have to give it on time. You guys know, I've talked about this before. I have a problem. But when all was said and done, she's like, I'm so glad that you said something to them about going straight to the ship, or we possibly could have missed our ship, you know. And everybody was loving the fact that I had GPS pulled up and that we were watching this whole, you know, we were watching the whole thing on GPS so we would know what time we're getting to everything. So that was that day. And then the last day of the cruise was, I was so tired. I had the worst headache, and I know I had a headache from all the crap I had been eating. Because you guys, I've been eating so clean and just so carefully, and here I had been, that's a really pretty, what is that, like a restaurant? What's happening? Oh, sorry. I'm in a new area. I have no idea where I'm at right now. I do have an idea where I'm at. I just have not been this way before. So, Friday, I just did not feel well and really laid low and just ended up eating really simply. And I read 3 books last week, which was so fun. It was so fun to be disconnected from phones, and I bought the basic Wi-Fi plan so that I could post on Facebook and use Facebook Messenger so I could call the boys, because you can call the boys on Facebook Messenger just in case we had any emergencies. And then also I put, you know, so I could do Instagram stuff just for fun. And, you know, there's not, between Facebook and Instagram, there's not a lot you can do. Facebook, honestly, to me now is so irritating in so many ways. So I don't get on Facebook very much except to message people at church and stuff like that. But anyway, that was the cruise. As we were getting off of the ship on Saturday morning, I think I told you all that our little neighbor passed away Saturday morning. So we had this whole drama where we had packed our bags and we went down to breakfast as we were pulling into port and waiting to debark. And as we were sitting at breakfast, they called an emergency alert over that was in the cabin next door to ours. So we were like, uh-oh, because, you know, of course you kind of meet your neighbors in the hall and say hi and talk, you know, whatever. It's not like we knew them or anything, but we had seen them. And I was like, oh no, that's one of our neighbors. Well, let's give it a little bit because we don't want to go up there and get in the way, right? So we gave it like 30, 45 minutes and we went up there, and there was like a dozen people in the hall, a bunch of people in the cabin, and like our door and their door were like this, you know, in a corner. So the family was standing outside, and I asked one of the family members, I'm like, hey, is everything okay? They were like, no, and kind of told us, you know, things were really bad. And then one of the official peoples was like, which cabin are you in? And we were like, we're in the one right behind you guys. And so they said, well, go in and don't come out. And so we went in there and heard everything that was going on, and it was a bad situation. So I felt terrible for them. I know a couple of you guys over on Instagram were like, well, thank God, you know, something didn't happen at sea or whatever. I guess you guys have been on cruises where they've had to turn the ship around, and anyway, whatever. It's still really unfortunate for that family, and I felt terrible for them. Like, what a terrible way to end things. So that was how everything happened. And then the minute we got back, it was like one issue after another at church. We had all this church stuff happen over the weekend. We had someone pass out again at church. I mean, anyway, it was a crazy weekend. And now we're back. I did a Walmart pickup on Saturday, which was great. So Saturday evening, I was able to go get my groceries, which was so nice that while we were driving, I just put in what we needed for groceries. I was able to go pick up and stop eating out, which was really cool. I went and picked up the groceries Saturday night, and then we kind of like meal planned in the car what we were going to do. My husband is so cute. He has been working out every morning on the elliptical and wanting to eat really clean with me. So today I have just felt like headachy, and I know I'm like super detoxing off of all the stuff, you guys. It honestly made me feel like crap. And the weird thing is that like the cheesecake that we were given in the steakhouse. We went to the steakhouse the first night that we were on the cruise, and they brought us this beautiful piece of cheesecake. Of course you think, oh, this is going to be the most amazing tasting thing ever. And I took a couple bites of it, and I was like, this doesn't even taste that great, you guys. I got a chocolate covered strawberry one night, which is my absolute favorite. It tasted waxy and weird. I think once you start eating really healthy for a long period of time, your taste buds really change. And some of the things that tasted the best to me were like, I had watermelon one day that was to die for, like the best watermelon of my life, and the ceviche I had, and the shrimp cocktail, and some of the fruits and veggies and things were so good. It's just funny how your taste buds change. Like the hamburger just tasted a little too greasy, and I love a good hamburger. But I ate a couple of French fries, and I was like, I wish they had a big sweet potato on the buffet that I could eat. So that was kind of fun to see the differences. But then the aftermath of that is just me kind of slugging around and feeling bloated and all of that. So there were just so many great things that came out of the cruise. My husband and I had a wonderful time. It was really fun and celebratory, and it was so great to get away with him, and just we both read, and we had our phones off, and we definitely need those times away, because we both are in the business of people. That's what we do with our lives is, I'm a nurse and he's a pastor, and we just have people around all the time, and we spend all of this time just, working with people and supporting people, and it's good to get away and not have to talk to anybody for a little bit. So anyway, highly recommend if you feel like getting away on a cruise would be a fun thing to do. I also think if you're going to go on a cruise, you haven't been on one before, definitely check out, there's a channel called Cruise Tips TV. Check out some of the YouTube channels on cruising so you know what to expect. And you don't want to, the first cruise we ever went on was terrible because we did not know how to cruise. And now we know what we like. Like, we don't go to a lot of we went to the comedy show one night. It was okay. We went to the PG one, and then we were like, we don't really even want to go back to the adult one. We went to one show. It was fun. It was entertaining. We don't really go for that. We go more just to, like, we played Scrabble in the library. That was really fun. We like to read. We like to sit out on the deck. We went to the Serenity deck. We bought a spa pass. Now, if you're going to do the spa pass, we only used it a couple of times. So I would say just get a spa pass for the day. You don't need it for the week. I know I had a question about that. But we loved the spa. It was really relaxing. We went and did that on a couple different days. We love to go walking. Just things like that. That's what we like. We love to go to the dining room. Had such good food on this cruise. And the steakhouse was great. The sushi place was great. They had like a Mexican cantina. That was great. Carnival Dream also has like a barbecue place. We didn't eat there, so I can't tell you if that was good. And they also had like a seafood restaurant. We didn't eat there. I tried the pizza. The pizza was good. Guy's Burger Bar. That's where I got the hamburger, and it was, you know, it was a hamburger, so it was fine. But yeah, it was a good vacation, and you know, I would say, oh, it's great to be home, and it is good to be in my house and in my bed. But like, I don't ever want to have to work again. And the thing is like, I love my patients so much, and I really love my coworkers. It's the stupid charting. I wish I never had to look at another medical record again, but I have a great job, and so it's taken me a couple days to like get back in the groove of, okay, let's get back to work. And it's been great seeing my patients. So I'm very blessed. I have a really good job. I know you guys are concerned about me, and I'll get messages that are like, you need a new job. And I'm like, no, we're good. For nursing, if you're a nurse out there, just know I have a really good nursing job. So I'm very thankful. I just have to take time for myself, and I have to take care of myself, because you guys know you can't take care of anybody else if you're not taking care of yourself. You just can't. And it's especially true when I'm not only taking care of myself. I have 25 moms and babies. I have my husband who I support at the church. You know, we go Sunday through Saturday. We are going, and being able to say no is such an empowering gift to yourself. Like, I have learned to say no and not have to give, no is a complete sentence. I don't have to give reasons why. And I've had to say no to a lot of things. You know, there are people at church that want to have lunches, they want to have us for dinner, they want to have this, that, and I've had to just say no. I just cannot do any more than what we're doing right now and be healthy and be okay. Like, I have to be able to go home and do the laundry and the dishes. That's important to me. So anyway, that's kind of the story of what we've been doing lately. Is this where I'm supposed to turn? This does not look right. Well, I guess we're gonna find out, aren't we? Welcome to the country. Oh yeah, I guess I can go this way. I don't know. Who knows, Amy? We're out on a county road somewhere. Yeah. Being on Weight Watchers is great. Oh, the QVC thing, I totally thought about canceling and doing the QVC thing. Oh, I was going to tell you guys. My parents called me yesterday. They saw Weight Watchers on QVC without me telling them about it. So my mom called me yesterday, and she's like, guess what? Weight Watchers is on QVC, and we joined Weight Watchers online. And I was like, you did? And they've done Weight Watchers in the past, and they really liked it, but, you know, they haven't been around me. They don't know that I have a channel, you guys. My family does not know about this. I think some of my family members do, but we don't really talk about it. But anyway, they joined Weight Watchers, and my mom was asking me which plan I thought would work well. I think they would do great on purple, because they like to eat a lot of, like, you salmon and sweet potatoes and the whole wheat pastas and the different like grains like quinoa and stuff. They eat a lot of that kind of stuff. And then they can count points for they eat a lot of, healthy fats and things. So I told him to check out Purple. We'll see what they do. Apparently with that, and you guys can correct me because I don't know for sure, but you get like a activation code and you put it in when you download the app. So she said that that's supposed to come via email this week. She was going to let me know like the process for that. But they did the online, I think it's like 3 months online. Both of them are doing it together, which I'm really excited for them. And she was real excited to get the cookbook and everything. So I thought that was so funny after talking about it with you guys. All right, well, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm almost to my destination for the next hour. I'm going to go play with a little baby and talk to his mama, so I'm excited about that. I will see you all later. Hopefully I'll get some more editing done. I have a bunch of things I'm working on. There was one thing I was working on the cruise. It's too loud and noisy for what I filmed. It was a review, and it just was not what I wanted it to be. So the information was good, but it wasn't presented in a very clear way because it was so busy and loud and crazy and windy. Oh my goodness, there were too many people around. So I'm going to have to refilm that. But I will try to get something up today for you guys. And then tomorrow night at 7, we're going to have a little live check-in. So come hang out with me tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll talk about how we're doing on our 5 perfect day pop perfectly on plan challenge for the week. Staying strong with each other. We have to band together so we can get through this. Support is so, so important on this journey of ours. And yes, I said journey. Ugh, I hate that one. Whatever you want to call it. On this adventure. It's kind of an adventure, you guys. Because honestly, it's a lifelong thing. It just, we're going there together. So stay in orbit, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.